Yeah, just a follow up on the previous video. And one of the things that many of us have been missing as well is the fact that there's a major lesson that's coming out of this for persons who are thinking of becoming scammers. And I'm not talking about, again, people who are without jobs, from poor communities who decide that this is the easiest route to make money. I'm talking about the people who are professionals who work in professional organizations, government organizations, the police, the law enforcement generally, and the courts, the civil service, the offices in government. One major lesson that a lot of us are missing is that you're not going to thief people's stuff and get away with it. It's short-term thinking, and it's really critical to one's expectations of success in the long term if you think stealing people's money is the way to do it, or messing with people's lives, because it's going to catch up with you. The young lady that confessed to taking money from a lot of these investors from SSL, including Mr. Bolt. And Mr. Bolt, not even sure it was 6 or 10 or 12 million US, but it really doesn't matter, because if it's $1, if one person invested $1 and lost it, it's $1 too much. But that said, the lesson, one of the main lessons that we're missing, and again, I'm encouraging content makers who are online touting this message about people ripping off Mr. Bolt to also represent to people that it's a lot of the people who are themselves listening to these events unfolding now are people who are themselves involved in things like this, or contemplating doing it. That's why we have a repetition of the same thing occurring time and time again. You catch one today and tomorrow somebody else decided they're going to do it. The lesson for everybody is that it's unsustainable to do that and think you're going to get away with it. Long term, short term. I remind people that there were occasions in the past where even attorneys ripped off people and ran away from this country and ended up in places like Italy. And they ran there, but unfortunately caught up with them, and it wasn't pretty. So don't think people are going to sit around and allow you to continue to rip them off and think you can just skip country and go to someplace else. Same thing for politicians. Right now, I think one of the politicians, the richest politician in the Caribbean, there was a thing that came out where, is it Turks and Caicos or one of those islands? I don't want to. But the politician from there, he's the richest politician in the Caribbean. I think 180 million US dollars. But he's now facing court, all over the place. He's been charged with corruption. He has his 186 million. But what good is that when you're going to end up putting in prison and can't enjoy it, and then when you come out, the people you robbed and cheated are going to make sure that they get back theirs. So just a notice or warning to persons who are contemplating ripping off people and the continued belief that it's okay to do it. People don't sit around and accept things like that forever and ever, and it's amen. So the politicians who can make a difference now, I'm telling you, step up. I'm saying to people who work in these agencies, who knows people are pulling those stunts, again I remind you, become whistleblowers and notify law enforcement or the public. Go public with it first so that law enforcement can cover it up, and when they get to the courts bury it as well. Go public like what they did with this event on social media, so that people know about what's happening and therefore they can take action without the cover up. Because that's the other major thing, that this whole heap of covering up that's going on. Politicians don't want to speak out, and I'll keep repeating, the media, mass media, the established media, they're a major culprit in this whole scenario, because they keep quiet and sitting on these things. You know how many of them we send factual information to about the corruption and the fraud that's going on in the court. And to date, nothing has been done. It's all quiet, and it won't get into the general public or their purview until social media does something with it. We can't get a newspaper to cover the crime. We can't get a radio station or a cable station that's established to cover the crime. You know? So if it wasn't for social media, then a lot of people, including yourself, probably wouldn't have heard about what's going on. So thank God for that medium. But again, there are lessons to be learned other than the fact that Mr. Boat was robbed. One of the lessons, and again the major lessons, is to point to people who are contemplating committing these crimes, that you can't run when you rip off people, because the US is coming after you if you rip off people in the US. That two, you can't continue to rip off investors in Jamaica, because those people are going to sit around and allow you to just take whether it's 30,000, 10,000, 12,000 or $1, and think it's okay to end up in court, and the court then give you a lullaby to go to sleep for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then you're out, and then people are out of their money. You know, we have to be more conscious that people aren't going to sit around and take this, and therefore, again, the government has to put measures in place to really punish you. When you're thieving people's stuff that they work hard for, and they're looking to get something that can help them to retire, live a good lifestyle after they retire or even before, and you just take it as if you are entitled, then it means there's going to come a time when you have to pay the price. So again, reaching out to law enforcement, to everybody there in the courts, to just do the right thing. Stop hurting people. It's not good. It's not something that's acceptable, and you know better. You know, I said the court is my thing right now. The courts are my thing right now, especially the Supreme Court, because when I file papers with the Chief Justice, Mr. Sykes, Brian Sykes, and the Chief Justice does nothing at all to correct this, he's encouraging those people to continue doing what they're doing. So when Brian Sykes allow John Graham to continue his fraud in the court, or Alexis Robinson from Myers Fletcher and Gardner, which Myers Fletcher and Gardner is therefore indicted as part and parcel of this whole corruption, then he's no better. He's one of the components that's keeping the fraud alive and the corruption in the court. And if the Chief Justice doesn't step up and fix it, then you should resign. Because if you're not against it, you must be for it, and it's the for it part that's baffling to most of us who know what's going on with this whole fraud against us in the court. Because the people in the courts know that we know, because we've provided evidence to the court. We've sent videos, we've sent tapes, we've sent letters to everybody across there in the court. We've sent letters addressed to intake officers. We've sent letters to the registrar, Mrs. Wellington. We've sent letters about certain judges that are not judges this time, but officers of the court or administrators who sit on people's work. We have sent letters about administrators who claim documents disappear, and when it's supposed to get to the judge, it doesn't get to the judge, and then the judge uses that as an excuse. So I don't know if it's a cooperative venture for the judge and the administrator to cooperatively claim they don't have the documents so they can complete the work of delivering a verdict or completing case management conferences. So we have an adjournment and get people's things postponed for years. So there must be some level of cooperation, whether we like it or not, because why is a judge going to be sitting there knowing that they have a case coming up and a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, and the papers aren't in front of them and they do nothing about it, and then show up in court when the litigants are there to say, oh, we didn't get the documents in time, like what Justice Kirk Anderson did. Well, he didn't say he didn't get it in time. This was an occasion where we filed for the courts to recognize the people who own property legally. And the courts rule 19.3, I think, said once the interest has passed to somebody else, the court must, and I will capitalize that and say the court must recognize these people. So we went to court and we had a case management conference for November 25th. Probably mentioned it before, but I'm just saying it again so people understand that these judges do things that are against the rules of the court, which means it's against the law. And when you deny people the right to property, that's against the Constitution, which means you're breaking the law again, and in a most dangerous way, because you're undermining the Constitution. The Constitution is a contract between the individual citizen or resident of a country. The resident of a country is a contract between the resident of a country, the individual, and the majority of the people in the country. And what that contract is saying is that as an individual in the country, if you live according to what the Constitution states and dictates, then the majority of people will ensure that your rights as an individual, is fully protected. And when that breaks down and the individual realizes that their right is not protected, because people who have the responsibility of enforcing the rules of the Constitution or the tenets of the Constitution are the ones breaking it, then you generally have consequences. That's how you end up with revolutions and governments being overthrown, and you have mass protests, and you have people burning buildings and burning down stuff, which is not good for anybody, because people get hurt. And we have to recognize and become more astute people on the planet to understand we must work to end this. So just like, again, people are there contemplating breaking the law, contemplating hurting people and ripping off people and thinking it's okay, it's not. And there are consequences, and you must suffer consequences. The Constitution dictates that. And law enforcement has a responsibility to ensure that people are protected. So, again, I am directing this specifically to people who are in the courts now, allowing the crime to be committed against not only myself, because they're doing it against me and my partners, they're doing it against other parties. It's not right. And you have a responsibility to stop the persons who are committing those crimes. To just sit there and know what's going on and don't say anything makes you part of the problem. And regardless of how nice you are to people and you try to explain, then it makes no difference to people when you sit there and you have the power to make a difference and you don't. Then it means you are also part of the problem. So again, reaching out to all the workers who are involved in the courts to take the necessary action on your part. You have a responsibility to expose the crime. We've already said we've put out a reward, 150 million plus Jamaican dollars for persons who do the right thing. We've said to law enforcement, find the persons who are doing and committing the crime, file the necessary reports with the DPP's office so that this crime can stop and we stop undermining the courts and the judiciary. We have to stop it. And we, I am one that's, as I said, I'm not going to sit around and tolerate people stepping on my rights. I'm doing the right thing. And the foolish thing that people are doing is that people who live right, do right, and won't put up with the nonsense, those are the people you make sure you don't rip off. Those are the people you make sure you don't scam. Those are the people you don't defraud. But it seems like because you're getting away with it with all over this time and all this time, and the Chief Justice or whosoever is in charge of the courts, whether it's the Judicial Service Commission, whether it's the Minister of Justice, whether it's the Minister of Security, whether it's the fraud squad, whether it's the Governor General, whether it's the Prime Minister, whether it's national security, really doesn't matter right now. The fact is, you are getting away with it because these people close their eyes to the problem and neglect their responsibilities, and you're going to ruin this country. So when people start demanding their rights in this country and things get out of whack, then where you think you're going to run to? You have to be conscious that when you undermine a system that's there to protect the entire nation, then you're undermining your self-protection. We don't live anywhere else. We live in Jamaica. This is our country. Why are you going to ruin your country for a few dollars, which you can't keep because you're going to have to pay it back? Because we're coming after you with the law and law enforcement to pay. Sadly, and I have to mention this, that a few of my partners are residents and US citizens. And a lot of them haven't filed anything with the US Department of Justice or law enforcement yet, because we're hoping that we can resolve it here. I have filed, and I have filed to ensure that I'm somewhat protected, because my life has been threatened, and my safety has been threatened, and my freedom has been threatened, and the orders from judges threatening my freedom are in the courts. And so the reality is, I filed with law enforcement from the federal government all the way down to the state of Florida, both in the US and in Jamaica. So I filed to ensure that not only were the law enforcement agencies aware of these people and what they're doing, but that if anything does happen that's nefarious, that looks funny, they know who to go pick up. So hopefully my filing will not have to have my partners go through all of this, and we're hoping the courts will resolve their own problems. But so far it hasn't happened. So we're reaching out to law enforcement again, the Integrity Commission, Mr. Monroe. You're always doing all that talking about, integrity and all of that mess. It's in your lap. We put it in your lap. NIA, I think you are one of them agencies. I really don't care. But you're on the front line and you're always talking about law, justice and integrity. And that's your pet peeve. And we put it in your lap and we haven't heard from you. All right? The Integrity Commission, we put it in your lap, we haven't heard from it. We put it in the lap of the Commissioner of Police, we haven't heard from him. Put it in the lap of the Prime Minister, we haven't heard from him either. Is it that you just like keeping stuff that's dangerous to the life and economy of the country under wraps and just protect your assets, your money, and not, care about nobody else? Because that's what it seems like. Because what happened with Mr. Bolt, or Usain Bolt's money and those people, based on the circumstantial evidence, you must have been aware that something was going down, so for you to go in there and pull out your money. And the reality is, law enforcement must investigate. Why did you pull out your money? You must be able to explain, and you must be able to explain to the people, Jamaican people. And in fact, you shouldn't have to wait until law enforcement comes out. You need to go to the Jamaican people and say, well, I saw a better investment opportunity elsewhere, and so I pull out my money. The guy who was managing SSL as well, or part of the management team, and left and go open another firm during that same period, it makes things kind of look like it was a grand conspiracy, if not directly to rip off Mr. Bolt, but once it was discovered that Mr. Bolt's money was being ripped off and the other people's money was being ripped off, then you made moves to protect your assets. You colluded with other people, because somebody over there must have called you and said, come get your money, which means you're compromised. But in short, you have a responsibility. You need to protect the Jamaican people first and foremost. You need to protect the Jamaican economy, and you need to protect the citizens of the country, which include me, who has an agreement that I was born into with the nation of Jamaica, the Constitution of Jamaica. In fact, when we became independent and we adopted a constitution, that constitution gave me certain protections. I haven't been receiving that. And I think the government needs to protect my interests along with everybody's interest in this country. Because when one person is burnt and damaged in this country, the entire nation is hurting or going to be hurt. It means that one person, the sacrifice, is not only the one party that will be sacrificed or burned by the same kind of irresponsible behavior. It means nobody is safe. So I'm saying, put this country first. In protecting the country, you're protecting not only the individuals themselves, but you're protecting your interests as well. So again, I don't know what happened. It doesn't matter. You have a responsibility. You need to explain to the Jamaican people why you pulled your money out of SSL. Why the other guy went and opened another firm. And God knows who else moved their money during that period. And as I said before, law enforcement need to ask those questions. And we don't need the FBI to ask those questions. The FBI won't be the one prosecuting anybody. So while they're there as a showpiece, a novel contribution to fooling us that stuff's going on, or we need them, we really don't. They have jobs to do themselves, and they need to be in the US fixing the problems there. Like finding out from that end who are the people shipping all the guns into Jamaica. Because if I try to sneak a mango into the US or a plum, right, the customs they find it, and people are bringing in guns. Thank God there was a news break the other day that they found 60 or something guns, but God knows what's coming through and why. Why are we having so many guns coming through? Somebody is building up armament. Somebody is building up weapons of war. For what purpose? So I'm saying to all the people on social media and in the country, you need to be more conscious of what's going on. We don't have so many criminals in a country that we have all these guns coming in. If one shipment is 60, what about the ones that don't come through the ports? What about the ones that come in on the boats? What about the ones that come from Haiti as transshipment areas? And that's the other reason I think we need to pay attention to what's going on in Haiti. Because when Haiti's problems spill over, it's coming on us. We're going to get burnt as well. So we have a duty to our cousins and our families in Haiti to step up and make sure that Haiti becomes a stable country. We shouldn't have the US going into Haiti anyway, because it looks suspicious. Because Haiti is one of the countries, the second country with the highest percentage of rare minerals or metals that's needed in every kind of industry. So from a resource perspective, Haiti is one of the richest countries in the Caribbean, if not the Americas, because of the mineral deposits they have. Haiti has oil and natural gas, they have gold, they have rare metals that I said they need in everything from cell phones to space travel. So why is Haiti having all these issues? Again, the same thing I pointed to in my previous video. You distract the nation so that other people can come in and thief the stuff and then undermine the country. And Haiti is being undermined, because somebody has an interest in Haiti and wants to control Haiti's resources. So if we need to recruit people who don't have any jobs over here and train them to help out in law enforcement in Haiti, pick them up and train them and send them over there so that they don't end up scamming people over here. Give them a job in Haiti, because sooner or later Haiti will be able to pay those bills. Let's work like other people when their neighbors are in trouble and not leave them to collapse and then hurt us. I say Haiti and Haitians are our blood relatives. We carry the same genes. So a lot of people are saying, oh, we can help Haiti because we can help ourselves. Those statements are incorrect on both fronts. Jamaica can more than help ourselves. And Jamaica can aid Haiti because we have a whole bunch of military sitting up at Up Park camp underutilized. We don't have no war for fight. We can't fight no war, so why not use them to help stabilize Haiti? Keep them busy, keep them active, because in so doing and going into Haiti and preventing a crisis worse than what's going on now is going to save our butts here in Jamaica so that we can stop the corruption in Haiti as well, because the corruption in Haiti is affecting our economy, our national security in a more profound way than most of us realize. So, because we know a lot of guns and all of that come out of Haiti. They what they call it, guns for drugs or whatever case. If we don't want to hustle stuff to Haiti, why not buy food and all of that and ship it into Haiti and sell it and make money? Why not for buy guns or carry drugs, go over the people and place and make it worse? And the fact is, the mass media and the way they cover Haiti, they make Haiti look worse than it really is. Haiti is a really beautiful country. Have some really, really nice people. But they paint a picture as if Haitians are the most desperate people on the planet and we must avoid them. The same kind of negative stereotyping that they use against black people all over the world. So they target Haiti. Why? Why is Haiti being targeted? Why? And we sit down as Jamaicans and allow it, because we sit down and we listen to this international narrative in news media or mass media talking about Haiti and how they're desperate. But who put Haiti in that position in the first place? Who was over there building basketball or baseball, bats and ball, and they pay the people them 5 cents a day? Right now, the kind of money they're making. But I'm saying Haiti is a viable country if we make it one. And we can do it. We did it before in Africa, and we can do it. We united our neighbors and nations into mighty, mighty empires. Let's unite. Let's learn the language. Let's communicate with Haitians. Let them communicate with us and become one nation instead of distancing ourselves. Haiti has more resources, more land. In fact, when the Dominicans or the Dominican Republic was attacking Haitians the other day, I was of the opinion that we should have been boycotting the Dominicans because of what they were doing with Haitians. But we sit down and we keep quiet because we see our people being killed over there and dragged in the street, and the same land, same country, divided politically into 2 states, and nobody said much about it. Haitians deserve more than we are offering them. We need to protect them, because in so doing we're protecting ourselves, we're protecting our children, we're protecting our future. That's a viable market for our products and services. Vice versa, Jamaica is a viable market for their products and services. And in fact, a lot of people used to go to Haiti and buy craft and art and craft and come over here and sell it to tourists. Instead of buying those things from China and Asia, why we not buy it from the Haitians? So instead of sell the people them drugs and get guns, go over there and sell them food and trade them with the art and craft and sell it here to our tourists coming in. Sit down where intelligent people come up with strategies that's beneficial to us economically and viably, because the gun thing not going to work out. The drug thing not going to work out. It's not working out for us. Then use us as transshipment. A few people get hooked on it, but the majority of people in Jamaica will never be drug users or drug dealers, and the same thing in Haiti. But the majority of people are suffering. Again, going back to corruption. So, stop looking down on Haiti, all you Jamaicans, all we Jamaicans who think somehow we're better than Haiti when Haiti is us and us is Haiti. They're only 100 and something miles from us now. A lady swam from Havana into Florida, almost the same distance. So we can say it's swimming distance. We can jump in one canoe and row to Haiti. So let's stop being victims of the world and become leaders. Let's start building our economies and building our people, whether they speak Creole, whether they speak French, whether they speak English, whether they speak Spanish. It's our responsibility to take revenge on the world for doing what they did with us and help all of us to unite our people wherever they are. Not to go back to Africa, because Africa is ours already. We don't have to fight over Africa. Africa is ours. But we've earned our keep in the Americas and everywhere else that took us. So we now run from what we're entitled to. But unless we unite and work together, the same people who incarcerated us in the first place, and slavery was an incarceration. It was not a voluntary movement. It was not honorable. It was an incarceration. Unless we unify our people, then we are vulnerable to the same thing, conquer and divide. So they make them divide us from Haiti. And regardless, that's one thing I can say about the Prime Minister and whatever. His efforts in Haiti, I don't know if it's motivated or it's coming from external sources, but regardless of what, it's a good thing for us to step up. Like we're stepping up to fight this crime in our country and corruption and drugs. Stepping up to fight crime and corruption in Haiti is going to fix our business as well. So to my Haitian people, you have my support, and I'm pretty sure you have a whole bunch of other supporters out there. We have to unite. So we should have in our school curriculum the Haitian Creole being taught. Not about formal French. We talk about Creole from Haiti so we can communicate with Haitians. Yeah, learn the French too. Communicate with the French so when we send them a bill, so how they rip off Haiti. Because I couldn't believe that in 2019 when COVID is gone, we still hear that the French to collect $3 billion from Haiti because Haiti overthrew them, so them to collect money for the properties and slaves, the French who run out of Haiti after Haiti won their independence. Still I pay them. The French need to pay back Haiti that with interest over the 300 or 400, if not 500 years that they've been ripping off these people. Our people, my people. So let's unite behind things that make sense and stop being distracted with a small handful of corrupt people. Send those people to prison and let's become a sophisticated society and rebuild empires, rebuild nations, so that when they look on us, they will remember us in history like they remember our people in Egypt, in Sudan, in Kemet, all over the world. The Olmecs in Mexico, Central America, and South America. And I guess most of us didn't know that the Olmecs are our people. Them trying everything to say no, but if you look on the Olmecs, you see my face. I don't see no European face. And it's a kind of coincidental that everywhere you have pyramids, you had black people. You have Olmecs, you had people out of Africa, out of Egypt. So guess what? We have to stop playing around with who we are and become who we need to be. In fact, we need to pressure the Ministry of Education and the government to stop teaching our children and our students lies. Christopher Columbus was not the first European to come to the Caribbean or the Americas. You had the Vikings and you probably had other people before him. But before them, guess who was here? My people out of West Africa. And whether they journeyed from Egypt to West Africa, and then jump on boats and come into the Americas. My people were here before. That's why when they went into St. Lucia and St. Vincent and all along the South American coast, they found who they call the Black Caribs. And when you look at history's depiction of them, they had kinky woolly hair and dark hair. When Columbus went into Haiti, one of the things they saw with the quote-unquote Tainos was that the Tainos had some spears that looked remarkably similar to spears that came out of West Africa. And what did the Tainos say to Columbus in Haiti? Oh, we got these from a bunch of people on some big old ships with black skin and kinky hair. The same name, the spearhead that they got from the Tainos are the same name in Africa. So how the heck you going to say now Columbus was for? And we're teaching that in school. Now, how ridiculous it is to know that Africans had the power of ships and sailing vessels going hundreds of thousands of years, plying the nation, going to China, coming around Africa, flying, sailing from West Africa to the New World. And in fact, there is documented evidence that over one African king sent, or chief sent, I think 40 something ships to the New World, so-called New World, with how many thousands of people on it. And one ship came back and said the other ships, he didn't know what happened to them, but there was a strong current going into a major river. He turned back, so the rest of them go up there. So you think all them black dark-skinned people in South America come from? Where you think the Black Caribs come from? In fact, when you look at history, they pick up a whole bunch of them out of St. Lucia, I think, or was it St. Vincent, and dump them in Central America. So we need to rewrite the history books in our school and start teaching the truth. Because until we start telling or teaching ourselves the truth, we're going to keep practicing the lie. Like how we feel we can't fix our problems here in Jamaica. It's corruption that's stopping us. So let's get together. Let's look at the lessons to be learned from what's going on with this saga, Mr. Usain Bolt saga. I'm going to coin it because most people are buying that it's only Usain Bolt that's important here. It's not. It's the entire nation. It's all the people in the country, not the 40 other people at last, not the other depositors that haven't been discussed yet. Sorry. It's the entire nation. So let's get this country's act together so we can get our leadership of the world in tune with all our people. Unite. Think about what Garvey was saying. You know why they don't teach Garvey in school anywhere? Even though they have practically in every major northeastern city in the United States, they have streets named after Marcus Garvey. But everybody is quiet about Garvey. Why? Now, as I said, Garvey was back to Africa. I don't have a problem with the back to Africa movement from the concept that, yeah, we must link with people. But we don't believe in packing up with people and going to Africa. What I believe is we establish ourselves here, start trading with Africa, and have our people in Africa come back and forth, and we'll be back and forth. Build our economy through tourism, creating jobs. Right? And being African is not just being black Africans. We have Africans of every color. The San people of southeastern Africa, what we call Bushmen. They look like people straight out of China, a lot of them. We have people in Africa, in the northeast, who look like people who are mixed up in Nigeria. We look so much like Jamaicans because we're so mixed. Same thing there. So let's move away from this racist approach to empowerment and understand we want people regardless of whether they're in Northeast Africa, whether in Egypt, whether in the so-called Middle East, which was part of Africa till they dig the channel and separate the landmass from the peninsula, call it Arabian Peninsula now. But who you think used to be over there? Why you think so many black people in West Africa and even the Caribbean showing up with genes, Jewish, quote unquote, genes belonging to the Jewish heritage or Jewish people? Why do you think so many of us have Egyptian genes? And if you doubt me, go check yourself. Get your genetics done. You will find, especially men, you'll find that your genes out of West Africa have a lot of genes straight out of Egypt, the Sudan. Same people who, when the Assyrians attacked those places, moved west all over Africa. So again, I'm not preaching about taking over Africa. We don't have to fight for Africa. That belongs to us. African leaders must respect and honor that. We should even have to apply for passports. In fact, no African should need a passport to travel across the continent. If they do, it needs to be abolished. But every African that's outside, whether we are Jamaicans or we call ourselves Jamaican citizens, but have African ancestry, we have the right to go back whenever we feel like. But we're not giving up what we earn over here. Alright? So let's get rid of the corruption. Let's look forward. Let's look for bigger and greater things than just focusing on stuff that destroys us and don't make no sense. So we can build a mighty empire again. You can be proud of who you are. I am. I was able to retrace my history and my blood relatives, to more than 5,000 years in West Africa. I have the name. Not West Africa, sorry, East Africa. Egypt. I have the name of my blood relative out of Egypt. Can name him. And name him father and father and father and father and him mother before him. Over 5,000 years. So with technology, you can know who you are. So there's no question about who I am. People, let's pull together and solve our issues. We have greater things to move our people towards than the pettiness that's going on in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. Them things so petty. We are a rich people, a powerful people, and we fight over pittance, ripping off each other, hurting each other for pittance that will make no sense in the future of this planet. Because there will come a time when money itself will have no value. What are you going to do then if you're not ready for the future? We have to get our people ready for the future. Our children, we have to change the educational system so they are ready. So they're ready for space travel. So they're ready for participate in mining in outer space, becoming entrepreneurs in space travel, going back and forth to planets and satellites. That's the future. The planet can't hold everybody and we can't kill off everybody. Right now, they encourage civil wars and people who make guns and armament, sending it to our people all over the planet to kill each other in a quest of genocide, reducing our population, because we all know we cannot sustain life on the planet with our population growth if we not learn to start moving back into space. And I say move back into space because if you're a Christian and you believe in a creation, then you would have realized that Genesis say God was coming through space when him see the firmament. So him come from some place, and what Jesus say, you can't come with me, you go now. You might come later. And the only way we're going to get there is if we develop our own space travel. We have the intellect and the intelligence to do it, but we're so distracted with pettiness. A few petty people who greedy distract us so much we think we have everything we need when we have a few dollars. We don't. We live in a universe that's so powerful and beautiful and have so much to offer. But we're so distracted, we can't even see it. We don't even understand what life is about. Again, because we have a few damn greedy and corrupt people screwing with everybody's existence. So we get distracted, and instead of pursuing stuff that God said we'll be able to achieve. But Jesus said, greater things than I have done on the planet you will do. What do you think he was talking about? What do you think God was talking about? Fighting over a couple dollars for some man in a court rob from people and mess with them lives. A couple dollars for somebody, some kid from some ghetto or low lying place in Jamaica get desperate and going after, because that's what we teach them. As long as you get money, you can hurt people and do whatever you want. It's okay. When the real valuable things in our life, happiness, value life, and know who we are, we just completely forget. And now going on, because there's so much happening, but the reality is we are such a great people with so much potential. And this is what we're distracted with. I shouldn't be here having this conversation over this pettiness, when we could be sitting down and celebrating life and celebrating who we are, what we achieve, where we come from, and to make sure the ills that has occurred to us over the last 500 years never happen again. But the path we are on now, be assured, if we don't fix it, we're back there. And this time, the genocide won't be them just dumping us over the ship side to collect the insurance. Because it was more profitable at one point to take us out of Africa, insure the slaves or the captives. I'm not going to say slaves, the captives. Insure them and then dump them at sea to collect the insurance. And many people think it was some goodness at the heart of Europeans why them stopped the slave trade. No, they stopped it because they had a case in the UK or England where the insurance company sued because they were losing money because they were going to pay out too much money for the slaves. So they said the only way to stop it is to stop the slave trade. So it wasn't even about helping us because it was humane. We have to change how we study history. We have to teach our people the history. And that consciousness is not going to make us into haters of man because them have a different color or racist. It's not. When you're liberated intellectually, you don't have time for hate. When you're liberated intellectually. All you want to do is look at the planet, look at earth, look at people, look at cultures. Enjoy it. You know how good it is and pleasing and pleasurable it is to see other people and them culture and how them live and then celebrate your own. That's what life should be about. So again, share the information, share the video, invite people. Know your potential. Know there isn't a limit on you. You have your children to come where you want them to do. Slaving in some sweatshop what China bring to Jamaica, or some slave shop what other countries or the first world countries set up in your country and undermine your people. Or you want them to be global, planetary, universal leaders, planetary discoverers and travelers. Because we have the knowledge and the science in our brain already. It's endowed, it's been imprinted, and it's there. That's why every time we need something, somebody so-called come up with the invention. When we do physics, most of the minds, the great minds of physics, involve people with the melanin that we have. Egypt, they can figure out how they build pyramids in areas that our people existed and live and build monumental structures. Because somehow we allowed that knowledge to be lost because people burn our books in Alexandria and Timbuktu when they came and they raided our nations. And instead of us trying to regain the knowledge, regaining all of that, so we can move forward. We're so caught up with this desperate need for the basic essential of food, clothes, and shelter. Thank you again. Have a good Sunday, and please step up, everybody. Bye.